Welcome to Pigeon River Farm, doing farming right. I'm Robert Brown, the owner of Pigeon River Farm. Thank you for viewing. Well, good evening. In tonight's episode, we're going to talk about the cost of inflation pertaining to our farming operation. It has really turned into quite a dilemma here as this inflation starts to heat up and the supply chain starts to break down. It's getting intensively more difficult to farm. Trying to keep your prices that we sell our products for in check so we don't stick it to the consumer. But the flip side is there's no mercy on us when we go to buy parts, feed, any type of supply. Remember the whole lumber disaster of, and that hasn't really settled out too much, it's better. So some of the building projects we had planned here have been put on hold. Now we're really starting to see a major problem. One of the biggest problems is service parts, availability and sheer cost. An example would be we had a failure on one of our bigger tractors here, hydraulic ramps. So I rebuilt, got in the process of rebuilding them right now, got them apart, and I went and got parts. And I have bought parts for similar type tractors over the years. Matter of fact, about 2 years ago I bought a seal kit, simple little seal kit like this, packing material and all the seals. I think it was under 20, maybe around $20. You're looking at here virtually $60, $55, $58 I paid for just one side. There's two. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you start thinking about that level of inflation kicking in, and it's across the board. Tires right now for agricultural equipment is almost unavailable. In fact, one of the things that I wish I would have videoed, but there is a number of combines and tractors sitting in the field for an extended period of time where they're attempting to get tires. What I've seen them do in the past here in the last few months, they can't get a replacement tire, they try to get a used tire, or they try to vulcanize the cut or the tear or the damage to the tire that's on there, slowing down the whole entire operation. So I'm glad I bought. I saw this coming last spring, and we what equipment needed tires, plus service truck, all got tires on it. So spent a lot of money up front there, but I guess I was ahead of the curve. So now, how does this going to impact you as a consumer? Well, as the supply chain seems to get worse, not better, you're getting equipment that's falling out of service. You cannot buy new equipment; it's just almost unavailable. So I've been over to local dealers to pick up parts, and it looks like they're going out of business. There is nothing on the lot because it's all been sold. So that means that there isn't going to be a pipeline going forward too. So this is not only what's going on now, but going on in the future. An example, John Deere with their strike and their supply line. John Deere equipment, literally looked like a ghost town when I was at the dealership. So we're going to be dealing with that problem, and that's all going to impact you as the consumer. And how it's going to grossly impact you as we can't get things done on time, equipment starts to fail, prices are going to go up. So that you kind of already figured into the mix at excessively high prices. The biggest concern I have is going to be availability. I really don't know what the harvest is going to look like next year. We got fundamentals. We have our problem right now we're dealing with fertilizer costs accelerating. Nobody knows exactly what to do. Buy fertilizer now, buy it in the spring, what do you do? And it's a significant, you're a lot of this inflation on buying like a nitrogen-based fertilizer has gone up 4x, 4 times since last year. So how do you actually do that? It just our feed alone. A normal load of our poultry feed in our gravity wagon with my custom non-GMO, locally produced, so it's non-GMO, soy-free poultry feed has went up from a year ago, the last load we got, the second to last load we got, went from 1,200 last year to 1,400. Doesn't sound real bad. Then suddenly it made a vicious spike. The last load we got was just about $2,000. So think about that. You wrote a check for $1,400. Now suddenly, and just a short time ago, now I had to write a check for $2,000. Well, where is that all going to come up? So we got unbelievably expensive parts, extremely expensive feed costs, labor is just almost not available. So I'm looking at it just strictly from my eyes here. I see the big world like everybody else does, but I see locally here we're having a real challenge. And where this is going to end, I do not know. I did a video this spring talking about what I saw coming as far as the inflation. Well, now it has arrived. And I don't know what's going to bring it back in check. It is going to be kind of an arms race as we move forward. More and more people are going to try to pre-order, as I did with tires and many things. That's going to feed to it. So that's one of the problems that we always run into, is that's going to add additional costs simply by people going ahead and building up an inventory. If you don't, you're going to end up getting caught flat-footed and not have anything available to fuel your tractor, put cutter blades on, whatever it might be, baling twine, animal feed. And then you got to think about, like with my cattle, we're in really good shape. So I actually, on a kind of flip side of this, hay crop this year was phenomenal. We've got plenty of hay put away. I've got land already rented for next year. That's in great shape. I buy in, because we've gone away from row cropping here, I buy in all my poultry feed. So I'm going to be at the mercy of A, the high cost, but more importantly, the availability. When you think about it, the world market is starting to jam up. You want to go study that. That's very interesting. So I think more and more we're going to be dealing with more localized markets. I guess the only good thing, it's really bad news, but the good thing is as the fuel costs continue to climb, transportation costs are going to get more and more. So the transport bulk goods long distances, especially when you're talking about bringing corn as an example from Brazil. Well, that's going to be more and more cost prohibitive. The flip side is the local grain producers are going to be challenged because of the sheer cost of transportation. There may be an equilibrium established here as we'll start to produce the feed close to where we produce the livestock that ultimately produces the food. It's a lot cheaper to send a finished good, say an example here in Wisconsin. If we have finished goods that were produced here and we ship them to Florida, that's a whole lot cheaper than trying to send actually a commodity of corn and beans to an operator down there. But it's going to disrupt the whole entire market. Nobody wants to give up on what they're doing. I understand it. I don't want to do that either. But I can see we're heading in that direction. So that is my concern. These are just thoughts of a farmer. But I appreciate your time and have the most wonderful evening.